So if you're using the eBay app to make a listing, there's one thing that you have to make sure you do. Otherwise, it could cause some problems. So without any further ado, let's go. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is John. And before I begin, just want to tell anyone out there who's watching for the first time who I am. I'm a full-time eBay reseller, and I make these videos to help other resellers who may either have experience or are learning how to resell and learning through my mistakes, things that I come across, and of course your mistakes as well, or things that you come across that you post down below. So welcome to the channel, and if you like this type of content, please do me a favor, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing. It really does help the channel. And for those of you who have subscribed, please hit that notification bell so that you can be notified. Like on Wednesday when I went on and did a live stream sort of last minute, you could be notified when that kind of thing happens. And before I begin, just want to thank everyone who made the live stream on Wednesday. It was sort of last minute. I think we had up to like 50 people at any given time watching the live stream, and there was good banter back and forth. I really want to give a shout out to Biscuit Butt Archie. We just really did this as a trial run kind of thing, and we just weren't expecting the sort of lag that he had to deal with, and we're working on correcting that issue so that the next time he comes on the live stream, we won't have that problem. So my apologies to you all, and thank you for sticking with us and watching the program regardless. There's many of you who stuck with us until the end, and I just want to sincerely thank you guys for doing that. It means a whole lot to me. So what brought me on this particular subject was a conversation from that live stream, and I believe a user by the name of Christine, I may or may not have that right. She was asking, why is it that she's getting a return package back from the buyer on a return and it has a first class label on it when that's definitely not a first class item? And the reason behind that is because your weights and dimensions are not set correctly for eBay to determine what that return label should be. And the reason this happens is because when we're using the eBay app, by default, if you don't put any weight, if you don't put any dimensions in there, it'll default to 1 ounce, 1 by 1 by 1, okay? And so, and the reason why I know this is because there's been times that I have been out doing my listings, you know, just getting them out, and I would go back later after I'm done making, 10, 20 listings and get the weights and dimensions and then put everything away. And the problem with that is if you don't actually go back in and add your weights and dimensions like you should, then that item is going to come up as 1 ounce, 1 by 1 by 1. And there's been times I've listed an item within 15, 20 minutes, maybe that item is sold, and it sells with that weight of 1 ounce, 1 by 1 by 1. Now, on the surface, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, because if you're offering free shipping, even if you're offering, a flat rate shipping, like, on this item, I'll put $9.99 as the shipping rate, regardless of where they're at. So on the surface, it seems harmless, but if you think about it, it's really not. There's 2 reasons why before you actually submit that listing on the app, and this is only an app problem because it doesn't happen that way when you're listing on the PC. The PC requires you to put some kind of entry in there. It doesn't default to anything. There's just nothing there. It's blank. Unless you're piggybacking off of a sell similar type listing, it's not going to have anything in there. So it won't allow you to end the listing. Whereas the app, it defaults at 1 ounce, 1 by 1 by 1. And there's 2 reasons why this could be potentially a problem. The one we first discussed, which is your return label. So if I have that 3-pound priority item that I ship to this customer, they have a problem with it, and then they want to send it back for whatever the reason, it's going to come out as a first class label, and if the post office catches that, it could be a problem. They might ask you to pay an additional amount or whatever, but it could cause there to be a problem with that package. The bigger problem to me is your global shipping customers. If you offer eBay's global shipping program to ship outside of the US to international customers, eBay has no idea how big of a package you're shipping. They only can go by the information that you're supplying on the listing through the weight and the dimensions. And I confirmed this tonight. I called up and spoke to a rep in the United States named Sam. She was very informative. I could tell she knew what she was talking about. And I explained the situation to her, and she said, yes, you definitely need, in both cases, you definitely need your weight and dimensions to be correct, because in a situation like your global shipping program customers, they don't know what to charge your customers for international shipping if it's 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. And if it's underweight, your customer might have issues, just depending on the country that's delivering that package to the final destination. Your customer might have issues because they didn't pay enough for postage, or they didn't pay enough for tariffs or whatever they have to pay. And so it's an issue, potentially, not one that you should lose sleep over, but you should change your listing habits, because you don't want to do that to your customers. And to confirm what I was telling, I believe the name of the channel or the user is eBay Videos. We had sort of a discussion. They posted some information on that live stream chat, and the idea was that eBay was using the information that you provide on your label as to be able to determine what kind of shipping to charge that international customer, or what kind of label to use for a return label. However, I can tell you from just my own experience, and I'll post a screenshot right here, this is a transaction that I had on Wednesday. It was a sale that I made to someone in Australia. They bought this particular item, and I shipped it out Thursday morning. As you can see, this item is still in transit, yet there's a tracking number already assigned, a label already printed in Erlanger, Kentucky. When this package arrives, they're going to slap it right on the package. And it's derived from one thing, my listing. Because if I go to Pirate Ship and run a label and then give eBay the tracking number, eBay doesn't know how big that package was. They don't know how much it weighed. And the only way that eBay knows you had a 3-pound item and it was 12 by 12 by 12 is because you put that in the listing. Otherwise, they're going to use that information in the listing, and you just don't want to have problems. And I haven't really had any issues, and I don't know who encounters these problems. Maybe your customer encounters these problems on the receiving end, but it's just good practice to have. You guys should be putting your weight and dimensions in your listings, so that, yeah, it's a few more extra seconds. It slows you down a little bit, but you really should be doing this. And my only thing to eBay was this. I told eBay, I said, my only thing to eBay was this. I told the rep, I said, you shouldn't be able to do one thing on the computer and another thing on the app. Okay, it's not consistent, and you should pass this feedback on to your development team so that they can make this change. It's not a big deal, but I'm going to be more thorough and getting my information in when I'm doing my listings, probably stopping to measure and weigh before I hit submit, which will add a few seconds to my processing times, but I just don't want to have to deal with it. And when I do come across that 1 by 1 by 1, I don't want to feel like, if this is a potential problem, I don't want to feel like it can come back and bite me or my customer. So guys, what do you think? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this issue. Have you experienced any issues from your customer dealing with a global shipping issue, or maybe on a return label that your customer sent back an item to you? Did you have an issue with an undercharged item as a result of all this? I know it's sort of a rarity. Maybe nobody has experienced this, but I'd hate to be the first one to experience, and it's just another potential problem that you could encounter that you just really can't avoid if you just put your information in when you submit your listing. On a different note, I want to tell you guys that, and this is the best advice I can give, reach out to eBay for Business on Facebook through the Facebook Messenger anytime you have an issue before you reach out to someone on the phone. And I'll tell you this, I just on a whim decided to send a message about that negative feedback that I had last week where no one would do anything. They submitted it to the dispute team. They shot me down. They said it could not be removed. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to explain my situation through a message on Facebook to eBay for Business and see what happens. And wouldn't you know it, the person on the other end said, you know what? You're right. In fact, they called me ignorant. I don't know, that's not really a name. And some of you out there who leave the thumbs down may agree with that, but it's not appropriate to put in someone's negative feedback. And along with the other things that they said, they decided to remove the negative feedback. So for me, I'm going to save myself a lot of time, and I'm going to start contacting eBay for Business before I get on the phone, and that's going to save me a lot of aggravation. And I suggest that you guys do the same. Simply send a message to the Facebook Messenger, and it's probably even worth going in and creating a Facebook account for that one reason if you don't do Facebook, because it can and will, in my case it has, save me some aggravation. So guys, again, what do you think? Put your comments down here. Do me a favor again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell. Great week. Hopefully you're doing the same, but it's, you know, I'm just looking at my consistency, what I'm doing with my listings, looking at my sales, and it all boils down to, you know, when I'm listing consistently, my sales are consistent. And when I decide to take time off, or I have that day I'm just not feeling it, you feel it a couple days later. Flipping ain't easy, and I want you guys to have a great weekend, and we will talk to you guys early next week.